Okay. Hello, we're live. We're live on Facebook and Instagram. So I'm talking about a really important subject that actually came up last night. Hope you guys are on. Oh, it just went live on Facebook. Okay. I'm talking about a really important subject that actually came up last night in my 12-week group that I host. It's my 12-week Attract and Keep Lasting Love group. So awesome. But we're in a phase, we're talking about communication, and we what came up was many of the women, when they're having a conversation that feels difficult, or they hear something from the guy that they're dating that that kind of blindsides them or feels kind of shocking, they tend to go into freeze mode. Let me know if this is you. If you go into freeze, you just shut down, you don't talk. And I don't do this a lot anymore. I used to do it often. And my guy, he's on here. So you might say, you do go into freeze mode once in a while. And I do. So just being in full transparency, I do and I have. And sometimes I just take a minute to, connect with my body. So why do we go into freeze mode? As many of you know, there's what we call fight, flight, and freeze. So Facebook, if I'm looking both ways, it means that I'm looking at Instagram as well. It's hard for me to do this where you guys are kind of side by side. Anyway, so it's a survival instinct, right? So, and it's stored deep in your brain, this response to overwhelming danger or the perception of danger. So there could be a perception, your brain goes, oh, this feels hard, this could be dangerous, and then all of a sudden you shut down, right? So, and oftentimes the freeze response isn't conscious. So it turns on faster than you're thinking. I've done a little bit of research around this, and I find the fight, flight, and freeze response really fascinating. But and I can talk about the other ones on a different video. But so, a couple of things you want to do when this occurs. So, if you're somebody that has the freeze response, then you need to know that your brain just shuts down and it can't really think. So there's no thought that can come into your mind. So if you've wanted to have a more difficult conversation with somebody that you're dating or in a relationship with, and you go into freeze mode, then all of a sudden you don't know what to say, or everything that you thought you were going to say goes out the window because you can't think anymore. So it's involuntary. But I'm going to show you some things that you can do today to support you in moving through that so you're not experiencing that, and you can have freedom around being able to have real, loving, connective conversations with your partner from a place, from a really centered, grounded place. So, who wants to hear that? Anyway, so if you're, I want to hear if you have struggled with freezing. Just put in the comments, yes, this is me. I have frozen, or I do freeze when it comes to having a more difficult conversation, or if somebody that I'm with says something that kind of shocks me or blindsides me, or it even hurts, you might go into shutdown. I like this filter on Instagram. Anyway, so what do? There's a couple of things to do that will definitely support you in overcoming this. Because, oftentimes people can go into freeze mode too when they're about to public speak. I know for me, public speaking I have definitely gone into freeze mode with that. And it's something that I still work to overcome as well. So it's it's a thing, right? Or the other thing that freeze response will do, and this can be a little more crippling in your life, and many of us don't realize it can turn into avoidance. So, meaning that, let's just say you've got a project that you're working on, and you don't want to do it, so you're putting it off. Or you're in school and you're studying for something, and so you're putting it off, you're feeling the dread. That is another form of freeze. And what it can do is turn into avoidance and not allow you to really fully function in the way that you want and life. So I'm going to give you a couple of tools to support you around this. So, number one, if you need to have a conversation that, maybe you've been dating someone for a while and you want to know where things are going, or it could be a variety of things. Could be that you need to have a more serious conversation about anything, or something has you need to set a boundary. Something has hurt you and you want to have a conversation to get clarity around it, but you find yourself going, you find yourself shutting down when you go to talk about this, or maybe you talk around what you really want to say. And that can be really crippling too, because then you never really have clarity. So let me know. I'd love to hear in the comments. Let me know if you have gotten a freeze, if you've frozen in conversations, or you've experienced that when you've had someone say something that kind of hurts or blindsides you. I'd love to hear it. Instagram, Facebook, let me know. Okay. So the number one thing you can do is you can practice how you like to say it. It's kind of like preparing for public speaking. You want to prepare, you want to get some note cards out and think about what are the things that you would like to share and what is your desired outcome. I teach women around really love-based communication, so that you can actually, so the other person can hear you and really hear you, instead of feeling like you're getting ignored. So I feel like I have a lot to say, but when it comes to voicing it to the person, I can't put it into words. Okay, so this is perfect for you. Journaling would be a good thing too, is, writing it all down. How do I feel? I feel like X. What do I want to say to this person? And, I recommend, if you do struggle around communication, and, find a coach, find someone that will really work with you around this and the positioning of it, so that you don't find yourself shutting down and then getting frustrated. And a lot of times the results of that is you can get resentful. You can start to, I hear this from women as well all the time, that, well, he should know that I want X, or he should know that I'm thinking that. But men don't know. And other people don't know because they have their own filter system. They have a different brain and they have a different way of processing things and their own triggers, their own things. And we oftentimes, tend to communicate from our own lens and think that other people are thinking the same thing, and they aren't. So, one, role playing, practice how you want to respond. Number two, um, you want to move your body. So you, if you happen to be in a situation like that and you hear something that blindsides you, so if you're preparing to have the conversation, awesome, but you hear something and you kind of go into that unsteady place. So you can re-engage your body and your mind so your mind isn't shut down anymore by moving your body. So, a couple really simple things you can do. You can move your fingertips together. You can tap your hands on your lap. You can, get up and move your body, especially if you're on the phone, right? You can move your body. So that will re-engage you. And it's good to see you, Susie Q. So when your body's moving, your brain will also get the receptors that it's safe. You're safe. So another thing that you can do is the third thing I'm going to give you, and this is, I feel like this is one of the most important things to do, and I recommend it. Works really well in manifesting. It works really well in shifting your mindset as well, is doing some visualization and feelingization too. So visualizing when you've had conversations and things have gone really well, and visualize the conversation going really well. Or you can even, visualize, you with that person, the conversation going well, it going so much better than what you thought. Because oftentimes we can go into freeze mode when we have that, anticipatory response. And, the animal kingdom, right? This really stems fight, flight, freeze mode from the animal kingdom. And animals have survived attacks from freezing, playing dead. And our, our response to that can be, it usually starts if a freeze is something that you do, or you find that you always have a lot to say, but you get in front of the person and you shut down, you can't say any of it, then there's usually some deeper things going on at hand. And it starts normally in childhood. There might have been some suppression there, or you were to be seen and not heard. So whatever that is, I recommend reaching out to a coach, either me, or you can definitely, send me a direct message, or, put a comment on this post, or somebody that you feel really comfortable and safe around. And we may not know that if you don't know them, but, talk to them, because this is a really important thing so that you can have a great, fully connected and functioning life and relationship, as well as relationships with everyone. Because I'm sure that if you find yourself going into freeze mode sometimes with men, and I had a client of mine that experienced something that was kind of shocking, and she definitely went into that disoriented freeze mode, which is another form of freezing. That's good to see you. How are you? So all of that, you guys, I know this was a little bit of a long video, but so important. Get centered. That's the key. Find a way to get centered. And also, if you can start to identify your triggers, right? Our triggers will oftentimes lead us into that response that we have. And sometimes there's the, see, I grew up in Russia in the 90s. My parents did the best they could to provide for us, but there wasn't much emotional support. Exactly. You know, it's interesting that you say that because you go into anxiety mode more than freeze mode. Well, Susie Q, even though I call you Susan, you, anxiety is a form of freeze mode because the freeze is a form of anxiety. So these things that I suggested will really support you. So if you know your if you know some of your triggers, if you know that when X happens, you might tend to shut down or you might get anxious about this, then you can start to prepare. You can start to go into even a daily practice. And you might be thinking, well, gosh, Cindy, I feel like I'm maybe I have a daily practice for everything, and maybe for a while you do. This isn't a forever thing, but when you're working on rewiring your body and brain response, it takes some time. It doesn't necessarily take that long, but it can take some time. And this stuff can be overcome from doing, doing the things that I shared, like practicing what you'd like to say, finding ways of saying things that you know are going to land from a love-based place, right? Getting yourself grounded and centered, knowing your emotional triggers, knowing what you usually do when you're triggered, and getting into that visualization and thinking about when times when things have worked out really well, when you felt safe and you felt good. So I hope this helps you guys. I am gonna run, and I also wanted to share something else because we were talking about not as much emotional support. We can give ourselves that safety and that emotional support we need by actually taking some of these steps. And little girl work is also really powerful for that as well. It's, um, you know, letting yourself know that you have all the love and the safety within so that you're not in a place of, when you get triggered or into anxiety, seeking validation from the outside, which many women, and I know this is almost a bad word that all my clients don't want to be. It can be needy, right? So let me hear this. My father died in 2004. I was only 15 years old. Oh, bless your heart. I understand. I lost my dad pretty young too. Started feeling responsibilities for your family, you automatically, that totally makes sense. So when you go into that place in your family, it can be a lot of pressure. So anxiety can take hold. I'll do more around this because I can tell that this would be a supportive topic. So, anyways, hope this helps. Loved being with both of you guys live, and I'm loving hearing your comments, questions. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to my channel and give me a subscribe, like. Would love to hear from you. And you're welcome. You're welcome. And Facebook, Good to see you guys. Same with you, Instagram. Love, love, love to everyone. And I will see you guys soon. I'll see you on Friday.